Good morning, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you all today? Good morning. All right. Well, as more and more of you pop on, I know it like just turned 10. We'll go ahead and get started. And in the meantime, you guys can go ahead and start typing into the chat anything you'd like to be coached around. Hello, hello. Thank you, David. Welcome. Hello. All right, guys, go ahead. Anything you want to be coached around. I know sometimes it's hard when you're like the first one on and you're like waiting for somebody who wants to be coached to hop on the call. All right. We'll just wait a couple more minutes. But I see you, Sandra. Okay. For those of you just joining, welcome, welcome. You're welcome. I'm so excited. It's coming up soon. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Anybody else want to be coached? Okay. All right, Sandra, let's do this. Let's do it. Hi,
Hi,
how are you?
good.
Good. All right. Well, welcome on. Okay. So, what is the most important thing for us to talk about today?
It still feels impossible for me to have enough clients and enough money to not be struggling and scrambling.
Okay. So, in your mind, how many clients do you need to have and how much money do you need to have in order to not be scrambling?
That's part of the issue. I mean, even just thinking about those questions still has my mind go, and I don't even focus on those basic questions. Like I've never been able to set a goal, have it be specific, break it down. I've never done any of those things. And there's still this like panicked, chaotic feeling that comes up when even receiving the question.
Okay. So, what would you like to have at the end of this call?
Even just thinking about the questions, it would be nice to have be calm. So it's like when I still think about the question, it's like it spins around still. And even to be able to um, sit down and say, okay, so what's my goal? And have that be something I can actually think about and come up with an answer.
Perfect. And so you'll know what that looks, feels, sounds like in your brain.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
like,
right now it still spins around and
oh,
like and I want to escape and
okay. So if you lean into that like panic, chaos spinning around in your brain, what are you afraid of?
still feels like the end of everything. It's still catastrophic.
How specifically?
Less catastrophic than it used to feel like.
Mhm.
So it used to be like the end of the universe and everything is just utterly destroyed. Um, and one of the things you helped me with um previous time when you coached me was realizing that this is all coming from, the 6 month old, you know, mother leaving and deciding I was responsible for everything. And that it just goes like it feels so impossible that I just have to escape it. And I just like shut down, don't think about it, quit. I can feel it in my gut, hard to breathe.
So let's just call this like a tornado kind of going on in your brain, right? The
Mm,
chaos, the
yeah.
panic, all of that stuff. So if you were to go inside this tornado in your mind, what would you find?
Right now, it looks like an empty shelf.
Okay.
At least now it's an empty shelf that's not moving. Before, it would all have been like swirling around and moving. So it's better, and it's still it's just like there's no definition, there's no light, it's just dark, it's just nothing there. And when I think about putting money on it, it's like, oh, it, it's like I can't put anything in it.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, oh, I wonder what's supposed to be on that shelf. So
You say what's supposed to be on, it's like, okay, stacks of
yeah,
money.
right. All the good stuff that you want.
Yes, stacks of $1 million checks.
Okay, so if it feels like the end, right? It feels catastrophic. What is it the end of?
Well, so it used to be like the end of the universe, the end of everything. And it's like not quite like the end of the universe anymore. Um, Feels like the end of smaller than that, but it's
Okay.
still much bigger than me. It's still much bigger than everything I know, but it's no longer the end of everything, everything.
Okay. So what specifically is it the end of?
Definitely the end of me. And it feels like the end of me being able to do anything. When I say, me be able to do it, it's like, oop, it retracts from that still. When I ask, is it the end of people? I know it's not clear. So it feels like it's more just me centered
Mhm.
than everything centered.
How is it a problem if it's the end of you?
Some ways that feels like, oh, that would be nice if I actually wasn't here. But that it feels bad to say that at the same time.
Okay.
But when you ask me, how is that a problem? It's like part of me says like, oh, that would be nice to just not be here, not do this, not yeah.
And the other part says what?
Well, there's a lot of conflict about that, about because part of me a lot of times just would prefer not to be here at all.
Yes, I'd like to talk to the other part because that part has talked lots.
Yeah.
So the
So
other
the other
part of you,
part,
where it is a problem.
really like has fun and likes connecting with people and wants to contribute to people and wants to help people. And it's just like, okay, so do I want to stand on this side? Do I want to stand there? So it's like part of it. So I was like, no, I want to stand on the side where I get to play, get to play with people.
Okay. So what if, just hang with me for a second, what if it was the end of a version of you? How is that a problem?
That might be okay.
Okay. And then what if it was the end of the reality you think you've created and it's taking you into a new reality?
Okay. And I get to choose which reality it's the end of.
No, no. It's just the end of a reality.
Okay. Yeah,
Probably the
I'm
one
open
you're
to
resisting letting go of the most.
yeah, okay. Let's go for that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That actually feels really good. It's like, oh, I can let go of this thing that I've been holding on to and not wanting.
Yeah, no, it's the thing you're holding on to that you want, that it's probably the end of, which is why you don't want to go near it. Because you're like, no, I like this thing. So, what's the thing that you have been resisting letting go of?
That I can do it, that I actually can do this. But part of me has been holding on to that. So hard. Also, it'd be nice to let go of that this is hard, that it's not possible.
So, the like, I can do this aspect, right? What about that?
That still looks like it's far away. It's like I want to reach for that, like I can do this, but it's like it it feels closer than it used to be, but it still looks like it's out of my reach and I move towards it and it moves away.
Okay. So, what in your current reality are you resisting letting go of?
All the stuff I have to do.
Mhm.
I mean, I know that I probably spend a lot of time on things that it would be better for me to not be doing.
Ooh.
And feels like I hold on to that because it's familiar, because I know how to do those things. Oof.
So how is it a problem if it is the end of this version of your life as you know it?
Part of me says, I don't know. I don't know how to do what would be next.
That's okay. You don't know how, you don't have to know how to do it. You just need to be ready to do it.
There's part of me that has a hard time being ready to do that if I don't know how.
Okay.
Having to know how seems really important. Because if I don't know how can I do it right? And there's doing it right is important.
According to who?
I don't know. Who is that? According to who? It's not necessarily me.
So then why are you listening? For real. If it's not you who says it's right, right? Whatever that means, then what do you gain from doing it right?
Yeah, there isn't necessarily a right or a wrong.
So then why does it matter if you know how?
It doesn't. So if I let go of needing to know how, and if I let go of needing to do it right,
Now what's your excuse, huh?
then what do
Come
I
at me, part.
do? Then what do I do?
This part in your brain is like, shit, she's figured it out.
I guess I get to make it up.
Yeah. So what are you afraid of if you make it up?
Well, I mean, that's that circular argument, right? I'm afraid if I make it up, I'm going to do it wrong and I'm going to make a mistake. But if I'm letting go that that matters, and so if I do something and it doesn't work out right, then I can just adjust. And so it's like, well, if it doesn't work right, change it. And that's always available. That's always available. Okay.
To
So I'm willing to
see that? Okay.
consider that. Yeah.
Okay. So then, does it matter if you know how to do what comes next in this new version of life?
No, it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter.
Okay. So then what, if anything else, is going to stop you from jumping in to the middle of this tornado in your brain and breaking through? And like I'm saying, it's like Wizard of Oz, right? It's like you're gonna go into the tornado and you're gonna come out into like the world of color. You're gonna come out in Oz.
Okay. Well, so if I think about just jumping in, and it's like, I don't know what's going to happen, but that doesn't matter if I don't know if it's going to happen. I- and if I jump in, can I jump back out? That doesn't
So
feel like it makes
if
sense.
the answer is no, hypothetically, right? If you jump back in and you can't jump back out, how's that a problem?
Just figure it out. Just figure it out. It's not going to be catastrophic, right? I mean, it's like I'm not going to be, I'm only going to be doing like normal kinds of things.
I mean, what's your definition of normal?
Something within the realm of possibility that I can do.
What if you were able to do something that you didn't know you could do before you jumped in and now you can do it? Would that be considered not normal?
No, that would be fine.
Oh, okay. So you don't have to do the normal things. You could do anything.
Well, I mean,
No,
what's
I
normal, right?
don't know. That's why I'm
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, it is anything I can imagine doing, anything I can, if I can, conceivably try it, then we're going to consider that normal. Let's just
Okay.
call that normal.
Okay.
I get to decide. I get to decide what's normal.
Okay. So then what if you were able to jump in and out? How is that a problem, if at all?
I don't think it's a problem.
Okay. What would you gain by jumping back out?
That would be playing it safe, going back to the familiar. But if I've decided that I don't need that, that it's okay to not not want to jump back out.
Right. Because that one's never really an option. So just glad you're there.
I just posted a comment on somebody's something in LinkedIn today where I was talking about um once you have an awareness, you can't go back.
Uh-huh.
And I said in response to that, I was like, well, once you have an awareness, the other place doesn't exist anymore. So once I jump out of like staying in the normal, it doesn't exist anymore.
Mhm.
I can just move to a different place.
Yep, that version of reality does not exist.
Yeah.
We call that jumping timelines.
Yeah. It doesn't exist.
Okay. So is there anything right now that would stop you from jumping into that tornado and jumping in and not coming back out?
I'm still arguing with myself that part of me wants to know what's going to happen. But it's like, truth is, I don't know what's going to happen now anyway.
I can tell you what's going to happen. Things are going to change for the better.
Okay.
Happy part.
Yeah. Well, just not being stuck in the same old place. That would be a good thing.
Okay, close your eyes. Picture that tornado in your brain
Okay.
and go be Dorothy and just jump right in.
Oh, so then it actually feels playful and it feels like I can fly and I'm not totally out of control and that I can experiment and I can do things, and it actually feels fun.
Let me know when you've made it to Oz or the other side.
Well, so I jumped in and
Mhm.
then, just kind of did some stuff and then I just, went out the other side.
Okay.
So I'm not in it anymore,
Okay.
but I'm also not back in the old place.
Okay.
So I can step into it when I want and just kind of be out and it's a little calmer and then back into it. So it feels like I have the ability to go in and out of it
Okay.
at will.
Perfect. And on this other side of the tornado, right? You kind of like went in and just popped right back out. Is it a different reality than the reality you were in before?
It actually feels like I can go in and out anywhere. So it's like there's a lot of different places I can um, step out and pause and have it be a little calmer and then just kind of go back in. But it doesn't feel panicked. It doesn't feel overwhelmed. It doesn't feel crazy. It
Okay, I got a
doesn't
quick
feel
question.
what?
I said I got a quick question.
Yeah.
So if within this little tornado, it feels playful, like you can fly, like you can experiment and do things and have fun, why would you want to leave and go into calm? Just curious. Because it sounds to me like that party really just wants to play it safe a little bit and like have the ability to get out if it needs to.
Yeah. You
Well,
could just stay in it.
yep. So what happens if you just stay in it?
Well, so it looks like I have a chair where I could sit down and be in it.
And where specifically is this chair? In the tornado or outside of the tornado?
Inside the tornado.
Okay.
That it's still moving, but I can also be in it. And so thinking about things, in terms of like energetically,
Mhm.
when energy is not moving, it's stuck. So by allowing myself to stay inside the movement, I am able to move, but I can also be calm inside it, but it's still moving.
So now you don't need to pop out of it.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So while you're chilling in your tornado right now, I'm going to ask this question again, the one that I asked at the beginning. Sandra, how many clients and how much money would you need in order to not be scrambling? If you were to know, just throw out a random number.
So then I get to there's different types of clients. There's individual clients that I'm working with one-on-one, and then there's group clients. So let's say I have 6 individual clients and like loads of group clients.
Loads, meaning like hundreds of group.
Mm, it'd be nice to have at least 25,
Okay, perfect.
but more would be fine.
25 plus.
So yeah.
Cool.
And
What about how much money?
let's start with $200,000 a year.
And if you have 6 one-on-one clients and just say like a minimum of 25 group clients, is that enough clients to get you to $200,000 a year in your business?
No.
Okay, so then how many clients do you really need?
So,
And I don't need you to like actually do math and numbers. I really just want you to like,
so if I charge the one-on-one more, then
as you should, yes.
yes, yes, then that gets closer. But let's keep it at 6 and have like 100 when it comes to group. And it could be more than one kind of group if I want.
Perfect. And that's more feasible and realistic to get you to $200,000 a year.
Yeah.
Now, when you're thinking, when you were thinking about asking me these questions, how did it feel to be in that little tornado in your brain?
Ask me the question again.
So when I was asking you those questions about how many clients and how much money, how did it feel to be in that part of your brain where that tornado was just moving?
I was able to think those questions and answer those questions uh, clearly without any sort of negative, I don't know how this isn't possible. That was all just gone.
And no, it just doesn't exist anymore, huh?
Yeah. I was able to just like think the question and come up with an answer.
Huh?
And without having like fear or judgment about is this right? Because to tell you the truth, I don't know if those numbers would work out,
Oh
but
yeah,
but
I
I'm
was
not
also like, I
concerned
don't
about
do
it.
math. Just
Yeah,
give me
I'm not
numbers.
concerned about it, right? Like that can be figured out.
Yeah.
So the feeling of panic and like impossibility and not even able to think the question, that's just gone.
Yes. Awesome. And now if you were to think about creating, like sitting down and writing out and creating a goal with detail.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. So then what do you need to know in order to make this space in your mind anchored into your reality, into your everyday life?
Remembering that I don't have to know how,
Perfect.
because that's something that I automatically go back to. And this is like, you know what? I really don't have to live there. I don't have to hold on to that. Because the truth is, even if something doesn't work, I can just adjust it. And I'm totally capable of doing that, particularly with support and help. And I have the support and help.
Love it. And when it comes to learning a new skill and learning like how to steps, that's different than needing to know how. Like it's different than having to know the outcome, how to know exactly what you need to do to get there and to get the outcome you want, right? That's I want to make sure that's what we're talking about. It's different than like learning a process or learning steps to something. Does that make sense?
When it comes to learning to do something, there's a barrier I have to get past. So I'm embarrassed at like not knowing these things already. There's a part of me that has a big judgment about myself that oof, a lot of judgment still about that there's something wrong that I don't know this stuff already and don't have it figured out.
How long have you been doing a coaching business, Sandra?
Less than 5 years.
So then is it really outlandish that you don't know all of these things?
No, it's not outlandish at all.
Yeah. Do you think that in the first 5 years, in less than the first 5 years of creating anything, the person who created it knows absolutely everything there is to know about that industry, market, running the business, getting the clients, fulfilling all the things.
Yeah, that's not reasonable to expect.
Beautiful. So then why do you expect it of yourself?
Well, because I'm the person who always expect myself to do everything perfectly and follow all the rules.
Rules according to who, Sandra?
That's undefined. There's just
Yes,
this
because
rules.
there are no rules
There are no
and
rules.
points don't matter.
Okay, there are no rules.
Nope.
Now it's very interesting. As soon as I said that there are no rules, suddenly I see that shelf and there's stuff on it.
Yay! What kinds of stuff is on that shelf, Sandra?
Oh, there's stacks of money and then there's gold coins and there's checks and it's like full.
That's right. Because you don't need to know how, and there's no rules.
Don't need to know how, can't know how, and there's no rules.
Yeah.
So if there's no rules, it's like the walls come off.
Exactly.
Mm.
I
The
want you
walls
to
come
imagine
off, the
that you
sun
just like,
shines. What?
oh, I was gonna say, I want you to imagine like you just like popped out of this box in this like wide open desert. There is so much space around you, but you were like, I only have what's in this little itty bitty box right here. And then you like the walls of that box just fell, and you're like, oh, there's so much space out here.
And I can go any direction I want.
Yeah. I can feel your energy releasing because I keep yawning.
Mhm. So before thinking about money, thinking about business, um, that all of my decisions when it came to thinking about money and business were all away from decisions, away from motivation.
Mhm.
And it says like, oh, I can just go towards now. I can go towards what I want. And it feels open and I can go any direction I want. And it's light and it just it feels like anything is it feels like anything I can do. I can do anything I want.
Then is there any need to go outside of this little tornado in your brain?
No, I don't need to.
Because so I want you to imagine like you're in that tornado, and I want you to just imagine like pushing it out so it just encompasses everything. And it doesn't have to be a tornado if that has any like negative connotation, and just like so that's all encompassing, so that now anywhere you go you always have this like feeling like it's playful, that you can fly, that you can experiment and you're capable of doing all the things. You have so much space. It's fun. It's enjoyable. You see those stacks of money on that shelf, and it's like and you know that you don't have to know how. You just get to go do things and learn from it, and then shift and then do all the things and then learn and then shift and then do more things and then eventually get to an outcome that serves you. And then you're like, yeah. And then you just keep stacking that money up. And now the whole thing is just like everywhere. And you're just like, yeah, this is great. Anything else?
Oh, that's awesome.
Anything?
That's awesome. Let's do that.
Let's
Oh man.
let's do that.
Anybody else who's here, they're all welcome to join me too.
Come on, everyone. We're just gonna like all hop in the tornado with her.
Let's play. Oh, Oh, feels great.
Yep. So I did technically check the thing you said you wanted at the end. And do you feel like you are calm when you think about all the details, all of the quote unquote hard questions that don't need to be hard?
Yeah. It feels like I can be an adult instead of that like freaked out child that I always go back to.
Interesting. Yep. So now when it comes time to take some action in your business, do you feel that you have a space that you can be in to create those action steps and do the things and create the reality that you want to be living in?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
All right. Well, is there anything else you need to talk about in order to feel whole and complete?
No, it's awesome.
I love it. I
Thank
love
you.
it. You're welcome. You're welcome. That was fun. I love coaching in metaphors. It's like my favorite thing ever. Like, yes, let's just stay in the tornado and do all the things. All right. Well, I do want to open this up for questions. We finished a little bit early, but that's just because this was just it was gold. It was awesome. So, are there any questions or comments or observations? I know some of you got lots of love in the chat. Um, I love it.
And yes, red sparkly shoes.
Oh yeah. Okay, what script did I use? Great question, Kayla. So, in part 2 of Activate, which most of you guys are going to be going to in like a week or two, I don't know. It's coming up soon. We're gonna talk about like root cause coaching. We're gonna talk about like how you want to start the session, where you kind of want to end them, how to bring your intuition into it, how you can like use all the things. So the way I started off was like very typical. Like I set the agenda. I got what her problem was and what she wanted at the end. And then I built like the body of the coaching session, right? So um a lot of that I use intuition with because there really isn't a structure. It's going to be you're going to kind of just find some rabbit holes, find some flow, start going down into them, start asking questions, start being curious, right? And then towards the end, you want to like build up that other side. So once you've hit that turning point, you want to keep building up and up and up and up and up and up so that their problem is no longer a problem and they have what they said they wanted at the end of the session. So I will teach you all how to do that on part 2 for those of you who have yet to come to part 2. It does flow. It does flow. And sometimes you'll get in your head and it's totally normal. I still get in my head sometimes too. And I'm like, am I missing something? I'm not sure what question to ask yet. And it's all good. It's all good. Okay. Okay, great observation, Amy. Yeah, so you absolutely can go after her like associated emotions, right? Like the self-judgment, right? That shame. I think she had another one earlier. Maybe not. But yeah, so like that shame, that's totally like if you go down that rabbit hole, great, right? That's like if I can shout anything from the rooftops, it's like there's no way to do coaching wrong. There's no rules, Sandra. There's no right and wrong. It's it's feeling like, okay, what is standing out to me? What seems to be the most important? What is the thread that I'm going to pull on that is going to unravel everything else? So because in like that bulk body part of the coaching, we were talking about like changing her reality, like I'm going to go back to my Wizard of Oz metaphors, but like exposing the man behind the curtain, right? It's like, because that was more of like that overarching theme that we were doing. I knew that if I could just like offer her a different perspective, she'd be able to switch into that perspective because she had already switched so much of her perspective, right? It was kind of like, this reality over here is crumbling, and this one belief over here, having like shame of not knowing all the things, is over here with it. And I'm like, well, if this is going, you don't need this. This isn't a thing, right? Like, offer up the other perspective that she's already in and building and loving and enjoying, and being like, that, like, does that make sense over here? And she's like, oh, no, it doesn't. I'm like, then it's not a thing, right? And then, so that's why I didn't go down into it, was because in that overarching kind of like theme that we were taking in this session, I didn't need to coach down deep into like that shame or that judgment of herself, because we were already like, quote unquote, destroying this old reality. It just needed to go with it. But you absolutely could have. Yes, yes. And then chunking down from like the chaos, the abstract, which is why I would like to shout a lot of things from the rooftops. Which is why Milton and meta model is so important in the context of coaching, right? Because Sandra came and she was very chunked up, right? Very in the abstract, very in this like, oh my gosh, if I go anywhere near it, it freaks me out, right? And it seemed like she was coming in this abstract, but what was really happening is she was just way too down in the details. She's like, if I try and break issue, she's like, if I try and go down into any more of these details, I'm gonna freak out and I don't know what to do. So I just leave. And then she chunks herself out and she goes and does things that she likes to do. Right. So we needed to get her, I needed to chunk her up into agreement, right? I needed to like get her to a point where I was like, okay, well, like, I want to just understand how these things are a problem. Like, what is happening, right? So I chunked her up just a little bit, and then I laterally chunked, and then I chunked up, and then I chunked down, and then I chunked up, and then I chunked down. So understanding Milton and meta model and its uses, huge help when it comes to coaching, because then you can understand what chunk level your client's coming to you at. And so I know it's a little bit more like advanced, like we really talk about this more in Evolve, and really just like their chunk level, where they're at in their language, is super helpful. All right. Any other questions, comments, observations for today, or I'll just let you out a little early. Yes, yes, love it. Yes, I wanted her to close her eyes, because if I didn't bring her into like the image she had in her brain, I was afraid she wasn't going to be able to stay associated into it long enough to coach. So I was like, no, I just want, like, close your eyes, stay in it, like stay in your thing. And then she knew, like, once she had like spread it out to everywhere, and it was in her like every aspect of her reality, that's when she opened her eyes. And I didn't even prompt it. It was gorgeous. It was perfect. Um, and yes, I love coaching in metaphors. It's so fun because it's all made up and the points don't matter, right? It's like, let's coach in the metaphor. That is your unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind is a giant metaphor, right? It's all abstract. So let's use them. Absolutely. All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for coming and hanging out. I will see you all next week. Thanks everybody for coming out. Bring things to coach on. A metaphor doesn't have to be like a many parts, but sometimes you'll be able to find the parts in the metaphor because one will be in the metaphor and one will be out of it. So that could be a good tool to identify one. You're so welcome, Sandra. Thank you so much. This was so fun. All right, everybody. Bye.